Looking to get the edge when betting on the ponies? Get access to all of SIG's reports now through the Belmont Stakes for only $169. You will get approximately 5 sheets per week for the next 15 weeks at $75 $9 reports. That comes out to a $675 value if purchased daily, saving you $506, and you'll have total access to SIG's horse racing selections through Derby prep season, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes.
Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome in. Time for another edition of Pony Pundits here. Sponsored, of course, by our good friends at WagerTalk.com. And we're getting to the nitty-gritty, guys. Here it is, the last 4 races to get yourself qualified there for the Kentucky Derby. Huge weekend here, of course. And who better to go over it when with these two gentlemen here? Yes, they may look like brothers, but they are not. We have Marco D'Angelo in the house as well as Sig here. Both of them can be found at WagerTalk.com, and we do have a great opportunity for you. Time is running out, in fact. Marco has got the opportunity for you to get an all-Saturday pass, an all-access pass for Saturday, just $39. That means, guys, you head over to Marco's page, you're going to get all the races that he has coming up this weekend, plus any of his NBA selections. There's Final Four this weekend. So all access for Marco, just $39 if you head over to his page at WagerTalk. And tomorrow at midnight, guys, your last opportunity to hop on board SIG's daily race reports here. Get every one of them now through the Triple Crown for just $169. But time is running out, guys. 12 o'clock, midnight, Saturday night. You can't get it anymore, and you are definitely going to want to do it, as nobody has been hotter than our man Sig here, continuing to cash tickets at the window. Sig, welcome back, my friend. Another Friday here, and we're going to be looking at Keeneland here, race 11 for the Bluegrass in just a minute. But since we last spoke, we were Florida Derbying it, talking about that race last week. So how did it go for you? And talk to us about what's been going on.
Well, we had known agenda come back and win the Florida Derby last week for trainer Todd Fletcher. I was interested in him. We were both Marco and I leaned on Collaborate last week, who didn't have the best race. Greatest Honor, who was your post-time and morning line favorite, was upset there in the race. As Marco said last week, though, he didn't need the points. He already had himself a guaranteed spot, so maybe they didn't give him full out. They're saving him for the Kentucky Derby. But known agenda earned himself a spot in the starting gate here, and should be one of the contenders on Kentucky Derby Day.
Marco, I don't know what it is with you and blinkers, but just let me ask you, how did it go last week for you? And, of course, we know about the all-access package there, but talk to us about what we're getting this weekend here with you.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us about the blinkers. 2 weeks ago, we took the horse with the blinkers, and it didn't work out for us. And last week, we didn't take the horse that was adding the blinkers, and he won going away. Yeah, okay. Great 2020 hindsight vision there, Joe. You got your blinkers on, buddy?
I'm putting them on right now.
But situation here is last week we talked about why, we had the right theme. We just picked the wrong horse. We said Greatest Honor. I felt they were going to race the horse easy, get what they could get. They didn't need any points. If they could win it, they would win it, but they wouldn't overextend the horse. When we get through the card this week, you're saying exactly the opposite of what you said last week, but I'll explain why when we get to best bets at the end.
All right. Well, it's interesting. 100-point race here, certainly the Bluegrass that we're going to go over for you guys. But, Marco, it's interesting because we know the 100 points, you win the race, right? You're going to be going to Kentucky, but those 40 points for second are very interesting to me, too, because that might just be enough to get some of these horses to qualify for the Derby here. So it's an interesting approach here for these final 300-point races here leading up to the Derby.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. Generally speaking, in years past, if you got a 40-point, got a second, it was enough to get you in. So that's what everybody's shooting for. Get a first or second in these final 4 races. 3 of them go this Saturday, and then there's one more big race next week, and then that's it. We've got the field for the Kentucky Derby. If everybody stays healthy, it'll be the 20 top point getters, unless one of the owners decides not to enter. That doesn't happen too often. A lot of times people will put a horse in there that really doesn't belong simply because, there's nothing better than the first Saturday in May and being in the owner's row and everything else. They like that. But, we'll see what happens. There's some very interesting storylines this weekend in the other two races as well, especially the race in New York. You've got a horse there, Joe, that doesn't have any points, but yet is a buzz horse. People talking about the Derby. He's got to get some points to get in, but we'll see if he can pull it off in the Wood. But we're going to focus on the Bluegrass, and go figure, Joe. The favorite in this race, I believe, is an even-numbered horse, and so that means Sig drew the even horses this week. So I guess you'll be starting with me on number 1.
Let me look at the card. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. We're going with Marco. It's the 20-1 morning line favorite. Let's get at it, guys, in the Bluegrass. Hidden Stash is the 20-1 shot. Last seen, I believe, was a third in Sam F. Davis there. He did have a second, of course, in the Tampa Bay Derby. Marco appears to be on the upswing with this story. It's one of these horses that is probably going to come from behind, come up late, 20-1. Hidden Stash. Any value for you?
Yeah, he's a big number. He's somebody that you got to consider on the bottom end of the exotics. He's not one of my top 4. It's hard to follow him. He's got 6 starts. He's been in the money 5 out of 6 times. But this is a horse that I refer to as a plotter. He's there. He doesn't have that big wicked kick or that big brush down the backside, but he consistently gains ground throughout the race. And at the end, if it's an honest enough pace, he's going to be there at the end of the race. But he just doesn't have that big closing kick. He tried to go by Helium in that last race, and Helium should have been done, but didn't get by him. That's something that concerns me with a horse that got the better of the trip and then couldn't get it finished off. So if you're using this horse, I wouldn't rule him out on the bottom end of the tries or the superfectas, but I don't think he's first or second in this race. He does have a good jockey on him. Rafael Bejarno, a guy that made a big name for himself on the West Coast several years ago, now come back to Kentucky. Don't rule him out. Good driver, good horse, but not a win factor.
All right, well, let's move on to number 2 here, untreated 10-1 morning line here, Sig. Talk about interesting here. What originally started with Chad Brown ends up with Todd Pletcher here. So talk to me on what you think about untreated, a 10-1 morning line in the Bluegrass.
Honestly, Joe, this horse is pretty much an enigma to me. Like you said, he's a Nyquist colt. He started his career out in the Chad Brown barn and debuted in January, going off at less than even money as the favorite. He finished dead last in that performance, and after that, the connection switched him to the Todd Pletcher barn. He took a break, basically, for about 2 months there for Pletcher, and returned to break his maiden early in March at Gulfstream, basically drawing away from the field and winning by more than 8 lengths. So it's like a tale of 2 different horses here. While Pletcher won last week's Florida Derby with Known Agenda already had stakes experience under his belt going into that race. And while untreated will be making the jump from maiden right into grade 2 stakes, it's going to be a bigger jump and a bigger adjustment for him here. He also raced his first 2 career races on Lasix, and this is the first time he'll be racing without Lasix. And as you guys know, I've been referencing throughout this Derby prep season and during the whole 2021 schedule that we're seeing horses, and we don't know if they can or can't race without the Lasix. So we've been more cautious with them. Untreated is one of the horses I'm going to be cautious with until I can see him run and prove he can run without the Lasix. I'm going to use him deep on a few tickets, but I don't think he's a win contender.
All right, Joel Rosario on number 2, untreated. We're moving on to number 3. Wait, this has got to be a mistake. This horse is 3-1. All right, highly motivated there, Marco. Can't believe they're giving you a 3-1 shot here. Gotham Stakes, 3-year-old debut. We know have had a little trouble in that one, but talk to me on what you think. 3-1 here with Javier Castellano on top. Chad Brown, your thoughts?
Well, word in the street is that the connections are highly motivated to get to Kentucky Derby with highly motivated.
Oh, good
God. And so, yeah, I stole Sig's line. I stole his line. You know why? Because I got the odds. You know what? He wrote that joke, and I took it from him. All right? Yeah, I'll admit it. Yeah, you get the 3 to 5 shot. I get the joke. All right?
So true.
Joe, this is a horse that he finds trouble in every single race. Look at his 4 lines. You got every one of them's got the triangle signal there, meaning trouble. It finds him, but he finds a way to overcome it. In that last race, for being the first start of the year, he was off since November, came back, raced good. He was closing in that race. I think he needed that race, and it was a good stepping stone for him to set him up for this race. Now, is he going to be good enough to close the gap on Essential Quality? I don't think so, but I think he is going to be a top contender in this race. And if he can just get a clean trip once, not only did he get hit coming out of the gate last week, but when they came out of the chute from that track, they run out of the chute and then onto the main track. He had to check the horse again there. So he lost momentum twice in the race, and the horse still responded well. That's the sign of a good horse. His speed figures put him right there, just a notch behind Essential Quality. So with only 4 career starts, this horse has that license to make that big jump and make another improvement. And if he makes any kind of improvement, it puts him right on par with Essential Quality. So this is a big contender. And yes, they are highly motivated with him.
Speaking of Essential Quality, we'll move on to number 4 here, Sig. And what else can you say about Essential Quality? He wins. He's won all 4 of his starts. Grade 1 at Keeneland. I mean, the Southwest Stakes this year. What do you do except for the fact that he's 3 to 5 morning line? Luis Saez on top there for Brad Cox. Let me guess. You like him on top somewhere?
Yeah, Joe. Marco just talked about good horses. And you know what good horses do? Good horses win. You look at Essential Quality, good horses win. 5-0, 5 starts, 5 wins. Most of them convincing. And he can race any way he wants to race. He can either set the pace here, or he could basically come from off the pace and come make a late closing run here. I don't see a whole lot of pace in this race on Saturday, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if Brad Cox and Luis Saez decide to send him from the start and just try to wire this field in here. If they choose to pull him back a little bit, he definitely has the late kick, though. He won his debut at Churchill back in September, came back, won the Breeders' Futurity, and then followed that up with a win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Both those were at Keeneland. So he likes the Keeneland surface. We already know that. He should run really well right here. It's his race to lose on Saturday, and I don't see anyone in the field who will make a big enough step forward to challenge him. Although I won't be win betting him here, he is your most likely winner, and we're going to look to use verticals and horizontals to make a profit with him.
All right, good stuff. Number 5, Rombauer here. Marco, 15-1. It's a little more like it for you. 15-1 here on the morning line. Essential Quality as a 2-year-old, we know undefeated, also had no problem beating this horse along the way, on the way up here. What do you do with this? Michael McCarthy, Florent Geroux on top here, 15-1. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a horse that is actually intriguing to me. He made his debut last time out, didn't make his first start of the year till mid-February. That's a little bit late, but if you look, the horse did race in the Breeders' Cup in November, so he did have, a late season-ending race there. And in that race, although he finished 5th, if you go back and watch that race, he came from the clouds in that race. So he didn't embarrass himself to finish 5th, and he was one of the few horses in that race that was gaining any ground in the stretch. So from that, I'm looking for him to build on that in his 3-year-old season. And what do? You go back and look at that first race, although it was a lesser race, it was just a $100,000 stake race. They sat way off the pace again. They let this horse just roll and ramble up on his own. If you watch the jockey in that race, hand rode the horse to victory. It was only a neck victory. But if you watch the confidence in the jockey when he rode him, it tells you that they had more horse. It also tells you they didn't want to go too much in that first start. Why? because they were going to roll him back here in this race in less than a month to get his points to get him into the Derby. So this is a horse that I think is a major live long shot. I will be using him on my exactas, tries, and supers for trying to get that price to help us with that 3 to 5 shot that most likely wins this race. Ron Bauer, I think, is a live long shot in this race.
All right. Well, speaking of long shots, Sig, Marco, I know he swapped numbers with this horse here. Let's go. LeBlanc here, 50 to 1 as a morning line. He did finish fourth, I think, last time out in an allowance race, but that was on a sloppy track. Is this horse way over his head here? What do we do at number 6?
Well, Joe, every week, Marco and I come across a few horses that when we handicap out the races, we shake our heads and wonder, why is that horse entered in this race? This week, LeBlanc is that horse. It took the Broken Vow Colt 4 tries to break his maiden, which he finally accomplished in November at Churchill. They brought him back at Oaklawn in February over that messy track in an allowance. So he finished fourth in that race. I was looking hard to find something good to say about this colt, but I don't see anything that I like. I'm tossing him.
Get him out, number 6. Let's move on. Number 7, Hush of a Storm here, Marco. 3 for 3 on the synthetic surfaces, but not a real factor in his only dirt race here. Talk to me about what you think about Hush of a Storm, 15 to 1.
Yeah, Joe, you hit the nail on the head talking about the synthetic surfaces. Those 3 wins were at Turfway Park. Nothing against Turfway Park, but historically, horses that, do their damage at Turfway Park and then move on to Keeneland, that's not a good combination for success. It's a much tougher circuit at Keeneland, obviously, and you've got to do the crossover from the synthetic surface to the dirt at Keeneland. Now, years ago, that used to be a good crossover because Keeneland used to be a synthetic racetrack, but they changed that several years ago, and it is a dirt surface, and it is a dirt surface that it just seems some horses love and some don't. So a little handicapping tip for you, if you've seen horses that raced at 2 on this track and had success, generally speaking, you can expect them to have some more success at 3. And that is just not the case for this one. The other problem that I see with this one, although his speed figures are going in the right direction, looking at the Equibase numbers, you've got speed figures of 62, 85, 87, 97 going in the right direction. But until that 97 that he popped in the last one doesn't even get him close to the top contenders in this race, he's going to need another big leap forward, and the change of surface doesn't indicate that that will happen. So I'm not going to be on this horse. If he runs me over in the Bluegrass, it'll happen, but this is one of the horses I'm not using.
Yep. Tough to look at it there. Number 8, Dale Romans brings Sitting on a Go here, Sig. Great job at the Iroquois. That was, September, and Ungats ever since there. I think, 4 races? Hasn't finished better than 6th. So at 30 to 1 here, what do you do with this Sitting on a Go?
Yeah, Joe, Sitting on a Go was the buzz 2-year-old last summer, won his debut at Ellis Park, and then came back and won that Iroquois at Churchill at 24 to 1. Went into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as basically a wise guy horse and so forth. I definitely liked him that day. He didn't run a step, and since then he hasn't run a step. I don't know if there's a problem with the horse, a problem with the trainer. I've always been a fan of Dale Romans, and he always seems to have one horse come out of nowhere to go to the Derby here. But I don't think this horse is going to be a factor this year. He was, like I said, a very interesting play in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he hasn't run. I mean, there's nothing to even show. You look at the works, he works well in the morning, but when it comes to race time, he just doesn't want to show up. And I don't see any changes or anything necessary to make a change here. Maybe he needs a trainer change. Maybe he's just not the best horse. I mean, maybe started out, was a little more advanced than the other horses here, but I don't think he's interested in racing. I'm not going to be using him here. He's a toss for me.
All right, and that leaves us with number 9 here, Marco. Keep me in mind, 8 to 1. Some setbacks getting ready for his 3-year-old debut, but it was 6th against a horse in this race known as Essential Quality. That was in the Southwest. The outside post scares me. Speed scares me. Your thoughts on Keep Me in Mind?
Well, I think the horse is aptly named because I think a lot of people are going to forget this horse because of the last race. And I'm going to tell you, don't do it. Keep this horse in mind because throw that race out for a couple reasons. One, the horse did have his schedule altered leading up to his 3-year-old campaign. The horse was at Oaklawn Park. You know how much bad weather they had there. They had to end up actually canceling an entire weekend's card there earlier this year, and he just wasn't on schedule. Then he got that last race, and to me, when I watched that race, he ran his typical style where, he breaks to the back of the pack. He's going to make that big move, the second half of the race and carry it as far as he can carry it. Well, when he was starting that move, he had to bob and weave through traffic. To me, it looked like they wanted to race the horse easy, leave something in the tank for the next race because this was going to be the big stepping stone race to get to the Derby. And if you watched in the race, in the stretch of that race, we talked about it a couple weeks ago when they played bumper cars and took one of my horses out. This horse got interfered with as well, not to the degree of my horse that ran third in that race. I needed him to run second, but it did alter his course. And with all of those problems, being the first start of the season, I'm just going to put a line through that race and look for him to go back to the form we saw prior to that. And what we saw prior to that is this horse was first or second 3 of his 4 starts. The other one, he was third, a fast closing third. He did race against Essential Quality, and he did run a very good third to Essential Quality. And if you go back and look at that race, again, Essential Quality, ran a tremendous race, but there weren't many horses going forward in a stretch in that race. This was one of them that was. I think he's a big contender in this race. David Cohen, jockey, and coming from the Robert Diodoro barn, I've knocked this trainer a little bit that he's kind of the big fish in a small pond. He races on a little bit of the lesser circuit and dominates. But this is a legitimate Kentucky Derby contender for him, and I think they get the job done on Saturday. Not saying he's going to win the race, but I think he's a major part of the exactas and the tries.
All right, good stuff there, guys. There you go. 9 horses, race 11 in Keeneland there, the Bluegrass Stakes. 100 points to the winner, 40 for second here. A trip to the Kentucky Derby online. And before we take a look at both Marco and Sig's cards, just a quick reminder, if you head over to WagerTalk.com and visit both of their pages right now, you can get an all-access pass with Marco for Saturday. Get all of his selections, all the races on Saturday, plus whatever selections he has in the NBA, Final Four, whatever it may be. All yours. Just $39 now if you visit Marco's page at WagerTalk.com. And, of course, Sig, time is running out here. 12 o'clock on Saturday night at midnight. You can't get this deal anymore. It's a great opportunity for you guys to grab every one of Sig's daily racing reports available every race day by 9 a.m. now right through the Triple Crown. So you can get everything right through the Belmont that Sig's got on his cards. Great deal for $169. All you have to do is visit Sig's page at WagerTalk.com. All right, let's go here, Marco, starting with you. Come on, man. Give us the card. Tell us, what are you going with here tonight, or tomorrow, rather?
Tomorrow, this one's easy for me. I am going with number 4, Essential Quality on top. No mystery there. And, Joe, you might ask, well, last week you gave us all this speech about, the horse doesn't have to win. He's got enough points. Why are they going to go all out? Well, the difference between Essential Quality and Greatest Honor last week is Greatest Honor already had a loss. Okay, Essential Quality is undefeated, 4 for 4. Why is that important? The big prize is the Kentucky Derby. Absolutely, the big prize is the Kentucky Derby. But if he pulls off that Kentucky Derby win and he remains undefeated, if you get an undefeated champion and a Kentucky Derby winner and you go to the stud barn that is big, big money for syndication. These horses race for a lot of money, Joe, but the great horses make more money at stud than they do on the racetrack. And this would be a horse that they're looking at for breeding, no question about that. That resume in solidifying it, and I am going with Essential Quality. They will go for the win here. They'll get the win and roll into the Kentucky Derby probably as the favorite if they do win the Bluegrass, and it's hard to knock him. Underneath, I said, I like Keep Me in Mind. I think this horse is going to race back to the previous 3 races that he had on his card, just throw out that last one. Highly Motivated is a horse that finds trouble every week. He stays out of trouble. He'll be on this ticket. And as I said, my long shot horse is Ron Bauer. But, for that last spot, Joe, you could go a couple horses deep in the 4th spot there and give yourself some protection. Since we are kind of singling on top, it lets you have a couple more horses on the back end of your tries. And, of course, we talked hidden stash and untreated are some horses that could hit the ticket. But my top 4, 4, 9, 3, 5.
All right, there you go, Marco. How about it, Sig? How many odd, even horses number do you have there? Talk to us.
I only have 1 even horse. I actually have 3 of Marco's horses they discussed today on my undercard. Like I said, I landed on Essential Quality. I think it's his race to lose. He can either come from off the pace or just try to wire the field here. He can basically have the race his way. I think that Highly Motivated has the best shot at upsetting him if somebody has a chance. We noticed with Bob Baffer, he ships his 3-year-olds all around the different Derby prep races so they don't have to go head-to-head. If you'll notice, Chad Brown already has 2 horses going in the wood at Aqueduct tomorrow. He shipped Highly Motivated here. I think he has a good spot for him and hopes to get him into the Kentucky Derby starting gate. I agree with Marco. Rombauer has a lot of upside here as long as he takes to the dirt surface at Keeneland pretty well. And then I think Hidden Stash is underrated and being overlooked here. He doesn't miss the board. Like Marco said, he is a plotter, but if he can find that extra step forward, I think he could be in the mix here. I'm thinking we're going to be playing exactas and trifectas with Essential Quality on top and a mix of horses underneath here, though.
There you go, guys. A lot of opportunities to make it a profitable weekend here. Certainly at the track, you got these 3 qualifying races here around the country. Santa Anita to Wood. Obviously, the Bluegrass, opportunities galore. It makes sense for you guys to head over to WagerTalk. Hop on with Marco Saturday, all access pass, just $39. Get all his selections at the track, and of course, Major League Baseball, NBA, college basketball, and again, Sig's racing reports. It ends tomorrow night, 12 o'clock midnight, guys. Hop on for $169. Never miss one of his daily racing reports by 9 a.m. Eastern. They get posted right now through the Triple Crown. So good stuff there. On behalf of Marco, who's getting fitted for blinkers actually tomorrow, and Sig, guys, thank you very much. Hit the bell in the upper right-hand corner. You get a chance. Make sure you subscribe, and then come back and join us again for another edition of Pony Pundits on a Friday. Best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you again next week.